faces at the camera before we came on. That's why we're 2 minutes late. So happy Thursday. Tonight's topic is about contact.
It's a very important thing, that contact.
How to establish steady contact. And the reason that we're talking about it is because this week's video was about bit and bridle fit. So we're going to be talking a little bit about bit and bridle fit, how to get a steady contact with your horse. But first, some important announcements. We are wrapping up Sitting Trot Challenge, which is very exciting. It's been so fun to see everyone.
And that's a competition, though, right?
Yes.
There's going to be judging and
yes. So this
prizes?
Weekend, that will be our entertainment. We're going to be watching.
Is that what we're doing this weekend?
Hundreds of sitting trot videos, comparing before and after, and then selecting, I think, the top 10 and giving away $10,000, which is a lot. So that will be exciting. It's been really, really fun to see everyone's progress in the Sitting Trot Challenge. That has been really fun. It's been a great group of students. And I always am so grateful to the students because like we make the content, but you guys are the ones that are out there doing the work and implementing and coming back and asking questions. And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, and you're improving, and that would be Levi with his new toy.
Levi's playing.
To watch everybody improve and to have a part in that it's humbling.
Yes, it's very gratifying. We did office hours for Strides. So some of you guys are going to be invited to join Strides this weekend, but on Monday, we did office hours together for Strides, which was actually really fun. And I thought, oh, it's a holiday. It didn't really occur to me. I was like, maybe we shouldn't do office hours.
No, it's horse people. It's horse people.
There were like 60 people there on a holiday.
All of my friends were like, what do you mean you're working? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a different day.
Yeah. So let us know in the chat as horse people if you work on holidays. But horses still have to get fed and eat on holidays.
Get out and go do their thing.
For those of you, though, in the Sitting Trot Challenge that maybe like didn't make progress, or you feel like, maybe you're not going to submit your video, or you feel discouraged about your progress, do you have any words of advice?
God, it's just so normal to be depressed about it.
That's horses.
That's horses.
I feel like everything takes longer than you expect. You think like, oh, I'm going to be doing that in a month, and then it takes 6 months.
Yeah. And then you take all these huge steps forward, and then you just sort of plateau for a while, maybe take a step or two back, because you have to absorb it. You got to learn it, know it, and then absorb it. And you have to practice it. And it doesn't go well when you're learning it.
Yeah.
So.
And everyone progresses at a little bit of a different rate. And for me, I always think it's important to go back to my why, like the fact that I just love to ride and I love my horses. And yeah, of course, we all want to keep learning and we all want to keep getting better. And that's part of it. But it is just.
But I like the time I spend with my horse, no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah. And sometimes you have setbacks, like your horse is lame, or you're lame, or you're sick, or family, or whatever. And that happens, but it's always just important to keep going, keep loving your horse, keep learning, keep improving, keep trying to get better. That's really the most important thing. So, very fun with Sitting Trot Challenge. And then for those of you in Sitting Trot Challenge, you are invited to join us inside of Strides. One of the benefits of Strides is that you get automatic enrollment to all the challenges that we're doing. We are going to be doing 30 Days to Round again in September, which is one of like everyone's favorite programs. So we're going to be doing some different things this year. We were brainstorming about what we're going to be doing different. You don't.
That was not part of the brainstorming.
You were.
I was?
We were driving down to the horse show and we were thinking about all the fun things we could do for how to get your horse around. But it is always so fun. Like I just love creating content and figuring out different ways to help you understand how to improve with your horses. It's very fun and it's very exciting that it actually works. So
that's the best part.
Tonight's topic is about bit and bridle fit and steady contact. And what started this whole thing was we had a bit fitter come to our barn like a few months ago named Tara. She was great. And she basically looked at the bridle, she looked at the bits. We tried some different bits on the horses.
Look at the size of the tongue, the palate,
Oh,
the
yeah.
bit seat, the lips, and all of those things. And she put it in a blender and then came up with an idea for a bit.
Yes. And here's the thing, changing your bit and your bridle is not going to like magically solve your contact issue. I hate to like burst your bubble.
There are no
if you
magic bullets. There's no magic bullets in the horseback riding. It's
yes, time,
and
consistency.
miles. Yeah.
So there's no shortcuts.
No
But
instant gratification. That's what it is.
yes. But that said, bit and bridle fit is important. Like I kind of think of it as every horse's mouth is shaped a little bit different. And it's kind of like us, you have like a favorite brand of shoes or a favorite brand of jeans that just fit your body better. And some people like Levi jeans, some people like Gap jeans. I don't even know what other brands are there.
I just wear shorts.
Yeah. And he goes barefoot, but I like to wear shoes. So it's kind of like that with bits and bridles. Like, because the horse's mouths are different shaped, you might put a bit on that your horse is just like quieter and softer in their mouth versus a different bit, like a bigger bit or a thicker bit that's just less comfortable for your horse. And sometimes you have to experiment a little bit and figure out what works best for your horse.
Right, because if there was one that fit, then everybody would use that one. But there's many and many different styles of bridles because horses respond differently to all that.
Yeah. But I would say the majority of our horses go in a loose ring snaffle.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what pretty much they all go in.
Double jointed.
Yeah.
Jelly bean in the middle.
That's like what we start with. And then if we have a horse with like this having an issue, we may try some different bits. But again, usually it's more of a training issue than a bit fit issue. And there was also a lot of discussion and questions about nose bands. And it's a little bit of a delicate topic, but I think all of us want to do what's best for our horses. We don't want to hurt our horses. We want our horses to be as comfortable as possible. Putting a piece of metal in their mouth and pulling on their mouth doesn't seem super comfortable.
Right. The mouth is a sensitive organ and you want to keep it that way.
Yes.
So that's why we talk about not pulling and not having heavy hands.
Yes. But that said, why do we put nose bands on?
To secure the bit.
Yes.
So it's not sliding around all over the place. Like if you were wearing shoes that are 2 or 4 sizes too big and your foot's swimming around in those shoes, you're not going to be comfortable. You're going to get some blisters, and you need it to be secure. It supports your foot. If it's too tight, then your feet are going to hurt. But if it's too loose and you're swimming around in there, you're going to get blisters.
Yeah.
So it's the right amount.
So that's why like nose bands are required to compete. And that is wise because they help to stabilize the bit in the horse's mouth. Now they shouldn't be like cranked so tight that your horse can't breathe.
They shouldn't be so low that the horse can't breathe.
Right. And that's what we show in the bridle fit is like, here's how to adjust the bit. Here's how to adjust the nose band, because that's one of the biggest things I see when I go teach clinics. And I always look at like, are the girths tight? Is the bit more or less like, and the bit and the bridle more or less fitting the horse? And one thing I see all the time is bits that are hanging way too low.
Hitting the horse in the back of the teeth. The one that I see a lot is nose bands that are loose with the flash too tight. And so then the top of the nose band is being pulled down forward over the part of the nose that needs to be able to dilate so they can breathe.
Yeah.
Because, but it's not tight. Sure, but you're choking your horse. So unless you're trying to handicap a race, not so useful that.
Yeah. So watch the video because we explain it like with visuals, but basically the noseband needs to be, the main noseband needs to be up high, like right below the bones on the side of your horse's head.
I do a finger.
Yeah, the noseband should be tighter than the flesh.
Yeah.
And then the bit should be like, it should be up in the corner of your horse's mouth, like with maybe one wrinkle.
And the wrinkle too, and that's the one wrinkle thing. That's just sort of a average.
Yeah.
Some horses like it higher up because their jaw just happens to be farther back up than where the corner of the mouth is. So maybe that horse needs 2 wrinkles. So,
or some horses have like really fatty, like big lips,
right?
And other horses have more thin lips, just like us. So it definitely is something to consider and check and just make sure. The other thing that happens is that leather stretches. So if you get a new bridle and you fit it, you're going to have to check in and frequently you have to raise it a few holes as the bridle stretches.
And with the leather, because the leather expands with the temperature.
Yeah. So, okay, that's bridle fit. Now I have to look for the questions that we're supposed to answer because I forgot to pull them up earlier. Okay. Question from Angie. Hi, Angie. When I get my mare forward and ask her to get round, she gets super heavy in the hand. I will ask for shoulder in or shoulder for, but then she gets heavier. Should I do shoulder in before asking her round? Interesting.
I think you should supple more. That sounds like you need more scrambling eggs because it takes 2 to pull. Your horse can't be heavy if you don't accommodate that.
Okay, so show us the scrambled eggs motion. If you're listening to the podcast, by the way, we have a podcast. Listen to it. It's Dressage with Amelia.
Okay, so your thumbs are on top, your pinkies are on the bottom, your palms face each other. You don't want to bend at the elbow. You want to bend at the wrist so that you can see the fingernail on your pinky. And then those knuckles can go forward. And then you see the fingernail on your pinky. You could rotate that up and then make your knuckles face forward. And that's the scrambling egg. And if your horse is heavy, it takes 2 to pull. They can't be heavy without you.
And it's also riding from your seat.
For sure.
So like
activating the hind legs, making the engagement.
Yeah. So you've got to think like your seat's got to be heavy and consistent. And then your hands need to be like vibrate, give, a little bit more inconsistent with your hands.
And so then we get back to the rhythm. The first thing, if the rhythm is too slow, they're going to be heavy in the front because there's just not much activity or not enough activity rather.
Okay. Lisa says, my horse does not like having a noseband. I keep mine super loose and in the correct position, but he seems to go happier without one. He plays a lot with the bit. His teeth are up to date. Any suggestions? Oh, that's a good point. Make sure to get your horse's teeth done.
Right. If they've got hooks or whatever, it's going to hurt. So you have to have the horse's teeth done.
Like we do ours like every year or every like 16 months, but you need to get their teeth done. Otherwise they get super sharp points. And when you pull on the bit, it like cuts.
It hooks into the cheek and that hurts.
Yeah. So if your horse doesn't like having a noseband, it's something that they have to get used to. And
so you could try drop noseband. You can try those ergonomic ones that are kind of the new thing where they're up and
the Newcomb.
Yeah, with the 2 pieces on the bottom.
I also like to put a pad under the noseband.
Pad works.
You can get these. They're like foam pads that you put under the noseband, so it's just a little softer on your horse's mouth. I don't know if it actually makes a difference, but it makes me feel better. So.
Well, it's thicker, and so it's more spread out.
Yeah.
So that the leather doesn't have that one edge to it.
Okay, next question is from Natalie. We can get the contact, but not the consistency. He will come round when asked. I soften my hands so he knows he's done the right thing, but then he comes up. So I ask, and so on. Is it normal to be asking continuously? I'm guessing it will get easier with time.
Can you repeat that? I was reading one.
You have to focus.
Oh, I was focusing over there.
Okay, so she can get her horse around when she asks, but then she softens her hands and he right away comes up and loses it. So he's not consistent.
Right. That happens. Every time it goes away, you just get it again. Don't prevent the mistake. Allow the mistake and make the correction.
Yes. Okay, I agree, because you don't want to hold your horse in the frame. But I also would recommend think about bending and inside leg to outside rein, because if you can get your horse round and then they're on a circle, say. So I always work on round on a circle. Circles are your friends. Don't just try to go straight and get your horse round.
That's a difficult.
Bending lines for suppleness. So you're on a circle, you ask your horse to get round, they get round. Try keeping your outside rein.
And another half circle.
No, try keeping your outside rein and then give with your inside rein and see if they'll stay round. And you only give for about 2 or 3 steps and then you take the contact again. Because if you throw both your reins away, your horse is going to put their head up.
And then at some point they stop trusting you because you get them round and then you throw away the contact. They fall on the forehand and they don't like it.
Okay, next question is from Sarah. You remember Sarah? She used to be down here and we would teach her.
Yes.
Over in Simi. Okay. Difficulty with consistency in tempering the forward aids enough to get them in front of the leg, forward and round versus creating tension, especially at a show. Inclined to get hot, explosive, and distracted if I ask him for what he considers too much. Forward first. You always have to have your horse forward before you can think about getting them round.
Yes.
And if your horse gets explosive, I like circles, shoulder in, leg yields.
All about the bend.
Yes.
All about the bend around your inside leg, because that explosiveness, if you've got you can guide that if you've got a bend. It's when they get their heads up and they get stiff straight that then they can get away from you.
Okay, should we answer questions here? What would be some signs you should try a different bit?
The lack of relaxation. You know, if you hear them crunching their teeth a lot, right? They're in, and you supple all you can, and the jaw stays tight, and they really resist the positioning of the head. Those are the things you want to look at and go, maybe it's not the great bit.
Yes. Or if your bit is too big, like if there's too much space on either side, which would have too much play in it.
Right. That's looking at it when you're in the cross size and looking how the bit fits. I got that question more. What would the horse be doing?
Yeah.
To let you know.
Yeah. So if they're like chomping, opening their mouth a lot, although it's like I said before, it's not necessarily the bit. It could be a training issue. So it is.
Right. There's no magic that, you're going to change the bit and all that's going to go away.
Okay, Kathy, how do you learn to keep a soft forward thinking hand? I'm really struggling with either pulling, I don't mean to pull, or I give and throw them away. I think we all struggle with that.
Yeah. But when you're in the transitions, right? So when you're thinking about a transition up or down, so that you're thinking about your core and your seat and your weight. And when you make that transition, that the contact is supple, light. Okay. And start to memorize that or remember that feeling, right? In those transitions, that when you supple and you go up or down and the horse doesn't launch forward, it doesn't collapse out of the sky, and you have that bungee cord feeling in your hand, try and remember that feeling when you're off and doing something. So like what Amelia was saying, on a circle with bend, get those transitions, feel that bungee cord feeling in the transition, because in the transition, we all concentrate. On the straight lines, we're like, oh, I have to go straight, and then you forget to right. So get the feeling in the transitions and then start to go, okay, there's that bungee cord. There's that rubber band that I have in my arms. You can see I'm moving my arms back and forth. You can't hear it on the podcast, but here on the camera. So you get this feeling, right? And then you make your transitions. Remember that feeling when you go straight, and that is time and miles. You have to, oh, I lost that feeling. Make a transition. Get that feeling back. You can make transitions within the gait too. But it's just about remembering to ride, and transitions will do that.
That's a good answer. I think the other thing that's really important to remember about contact and connection is to think about your seat, because your seat is what ultimately establishes connection with your horse. And you want to be doing less and less with your hands and more with your seat. So as humans, it's very easy for us to get fixated on our hands.
Yeah.
But think about your seat instead. Like, connect more in your seat. Follow the movement. The sequence of aids, it should always be seat, leg, hand. Like seat, leg, hand. And so much of us is just, we think hands.
And so then if you're concentrating on your hands, you'll forget your seat for sure, because you're just totally focused on your hand, and then your seat's just doing whatever it's doing. So yeah, you have to concentrate, because it's the independent seat which creates that balance so that you can have an elastic feel.
So here's a good question. When I take contact, the forward flow stops. So what do I do?
When you go to take the contact, go at it slower and more increments.
And more leg.
Yeah. So that you're keeping your tempo. You're keeping your tempo. You're keeping your tempo. You take the reins a little bit. Make sure you've kept the tempo.
Yeah.
It stays, then you can take the rein a little bit more. Oh, you've lost the tempo. Keep the reins in that neutral place there, then push up again and get the tempo back. Then you can take the reins again. Just do it more incrementally, and so you can get a feel.
Yeah, because remember, you have a piece of metal in your horse's mouth. So
right. So if you come in it, if you come at 7 pounds instead of 6 pounds, the horse is like, whoa.
Yeah. So just go into it, and it's always, again, remember, it's seat, leg, then hand. It's not just your hand. Penelope, how do I stop overbending my horse's head?
Counterflexion.
Keep your outside rein.
I would counterflex. Look at the points of the horse's shoulder, and so that you just get into the habit of, when you're overbent, take them to the outside and then get the nose back between the points of the shoulder. When they stiffen, point of shoulder, supple back and forth.
Well, there's lots of questions now. How do I get more suspension in the canter?
Transitions within the gait.
Forward, collect, forward, collect.
And when we say forward, 3-4 steps. Quick, moment of peace. Short, quick, moment of peace. Go, moment of peace, short, quick.
And you want to think about I'm all about the seat tonight.
Right.
You want to think about like your hips like swinging, and that they're like more jumping up with your horse.
For the short, quick, but they're long. Your hips got a longer pendulation when you do the lengthening part.
But like if you sit flat, your horse is going to canter flat.
Right.
So you have to like swing and move with your seat.
You got to think upwards and not push down on their back. You push down on their back, the backs get hollow, and that's not bueno.
Oh, here's another good question. How do you avoid a pulling match if your horse likes to get quick and scoot or run off? What do you do to get your horse back when you've lost them?
So for a brief moment, I resist. I engage my core, I make 2 fists, and I resist and I soften, and I resist and I soften. So I say, no, don't run off. And then immediately I soften. And then I repeat that. Those are half halts.
I thought you were going to answer that differently.
Why? What did you think I was going to do?
I thought you were going to say circle, bend, because that's what I would say. Like I would do spiral in, leg yield out, do circles, serpentines, because that helps with your half halts.
I was answering the get quick, scoot off part, or run off.
Right. But like, if they run off, then I usually bend and turn. But it's like you said too. If the resisting doesn't work,
right, then plan B.
So I guess that's good.
Because I won't pull. If the horse wants to pull, It can only pull if I pull. So I resist and let go, and I resist and I let go. And in that letting go, that's where you get your horse, because then the horse has to balance on his four legs because he can't lean into your hand. And he leans and you pull and you pull and he leans and he leans. And so you pull. He doesn't have a frontal lobe. He just reacts. So you have to think that bit through and say, okay, I made a half halt and I let go. And in the moment you let go, they have to balance. Now, you may have to do that 87 times down the long side.
It's hard to let go.
You do have to trust, back to your seat. You do have to
Yes.
trust your seat, that no matter what happens, you'll still be in the saddle.
Oh, here's a good question. So we actually had a student in our office hours that was struggling with this on Monday. So does picking up into contact from free walk count? We are struggling with head tossing and jigging as soon as I touch the reins. It's a hard one.
Right. That went back to that other question. It's the same kind of thing. So, well, you got a leg yield, right? I would definitely, as you take up the reins, take up the outside rein first, and just take up the slack.
I take up the inside rein first.
I take up the outside rein first.
But
the point is that you take up one rein, just get rid of the slack, and wait.
And bend.
Bend. Little leg yield, maybe a little turn. When the horse relaxes, then take up the other rein and just get rid of the slack and wait. If the horse is relaxed, then continue.
Yeah. And the better your like free walk, like I would also recommend really getting the free walk where your horse is lowering into the contact, because that was the problem we saw with the student in our office hours, was her horse was so high in the neck.
Yeah.
And so tense.
Already in the free walk that there's
right.
No, I mean,
there was no chance for her to take up. So in that free walk, like your horse should be in the dirt with her nose.
45-degree angle from the withers down.
Yeah. And then if you can't get that in the walk, usually the trot is where you fix it. Like you're not really going to fix the unwillingness to really drop the neck and go round in the walk. You need to fix that at the trot and then come back to the walk. And also at the walk, practice lots of serpentines and like you can do them kind of tight at the walk and really bend your horse in both directions in the walk. And that's going to help you with your free walk. Okay, there's two questions about transition. So I know Penelope, my horse doesn't have a clean canter transition and they just rush until they canter, or buck. Can you help me? Do the snowman, Penelope. Go on YouTube and look for, like, search Amelia and the snowman. That is the best exercise. We love that exercise. Let us know in the chat if you love the snowman exercise. And then Penelope, go try the snowman exercise. Janice has a question. My challenge with consistency in the contact is in the transitions.
Yes, because it's monumentally difficult.
Oh, and by the way, Strides members, next month's topic is all about transitions. I'm doing a lecture Tuesday night all about transitions. I will be talking more about contact, connection, all the evasions that happen during transitions. And there's a bunch of new exercises coming out to help you with your transitions. So yes, Janice, I would recommend your seat. Focus on your seat, and that will help you with your transitions.
Right. And, and take her too. Like, look at the snowman, and because the snowman is going to help set you up for those transitions where the horse is in balance. Right. The key to this whole thing is balance. That's why you have to have a seat. You have to have supple contact so that you're not a tree in the wind knocking your horse off of balance. Because if your horse is off of balance, then the transitions will be a nightmare.
Yes. Look, everyone loves snowman. Cindy loves the snowman. Kathy loves the snowman. Gail loves the snowman. Yay. We've taught you all a great exercise. I think that's all the questions. This has been very fun. A couple of important announcements. We're doing a boot camp June 19th to 23rd. something we've never done before, but it's going to be really fun. So mark your calendars.
Are we going to make people suffer? Because then it'd be great.
Yes, we're going to make you do.
Because I was in boot camp and there was a bit of suffering when I was there.
No, it's going to be learning and improving. So that will be fun.
There was lots of yelling when I was in boot camp.
Let us know in the chat what your plans are for this weekend. Hopefully you're doing something horsey and fun. We're
doing something horsey and fun.
Yes. Tell them what we're doing.
We're going to a horse show.
Yes. Tomorrow. It's just a local show. It's like right around the corner.
5 miles, which is fantastic.
And I'm going to be showing Kensington and Getty. Herman's going to be showing.
I might be showing. She had uveitis, and then we got to check with the eye drops and see if it's all good. And
horses.
Yes.
But we may be competing against each other. So
if I get to ride, yeah, we're in that 3rd level class. Let
us know who you think is going to win.
Ouch.
So
there, good for you, Chris. A groom for a friend. Now that's a friend.
Yes. So that should
Gymkhana, that sounds fun. Penelope is going to Gymkhana. That's a good
yay.
time.
Weave and Wobble says these Q&As helped me not feel discouraged. Yay. Yes, we're all learning together. This is really, really hard. Like riding is so hard. Herman always says we can be frustrated for life.
Right. It's fantastic. We can be frustrated and unhappy with ourselves to the day we die. It's really just awesome.
It's like so fun to just keep learning and trying new things and experimenting and loving our horses. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so this weekend horse show. Next weekend I'm going to be at the Horse Expo in Sacramento. So hopefully I will see some of you there.
Oh, I'm showing that in the weekend too.
At Spirit or at our home barn, Fox Canyon. Let's see. Brandy's filming her sitting trot challenge video. Yay,
good.
Brandy. We're going to be watching, we're going to be going to the horse show in the morning, and the afternoon activity is going to be watching sitting trot challenge videos. Hannah's going to ride the PRE stallions. Good for you, Hannah. Meredith is doing her first horse show, reining classes. Ooh, I love reining. Reining is so fun. All right.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not done it.
It's very fun. The sliding stop, like when the horse slides and the dirt flies up beside you, and they're just like, it's so fun. We should go ride reining horses. I wonder if
there's got to be.
We need to find a connection.
Mindy's trainer probably knows.
Alrighty. I'm starving. We're gonna go have dinner.
Good night.